Good Lord. It's early June here, June 2nd, and there's been a flurry of roster moves. The Jets have signed people. The Jets have cut people. Russell Wilson apparently ditched him at the altar. What does it all mean? We'll talk all about it. Boy Green Daily starts now.
Oh my gosh, it's Morphin time! To me, talking New York Jets is my superpower. Boy Green Daily starts now. Wow! Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Offense, defense, special teamwork, just football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, let's go!
What's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I am the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it. Sometimes in the month of June, you're like, what am I going to talk about today? None of that is the issue on this program, folks. That is for damn sure. There is a flurry of moves to discuss. We'll be talking about all of them. And not all of the topics that are up above, or depending on wherever you're watching on your phone or laptop or tablet or what have you. There are more information in the article in the YouTube description down below on the flurry of signings and cuts. I have that article in the YouTube description down below, but we'll keep you posted on a little bit of everything happening here on the program. Before we get this party started, first, let's give some love to the audience and some gifting of memberships here on the channel. Which I really appreciate. Let's give a big shout out to our number one Austrian Jets fan who now, at this very moment in time, has 2 raffle tickets to our big contest. Thank you, Austrian. You're number one in my book, baby. Appreciate you, our number one Austrian Jets fan out there in the YouTube comment section, gifting a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. That membership went to Timothy Moore. You're now a member to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Appreciate that. Shout out to the Coffee Club members, special club members. Thanks for joining us this morning, and thank you, Austrian. I will tell you real quick before we get into all the Jet stuff. I started my weight loss journey yesterday, and I said I want to get 10,000 steps in. I want to try to lose weight. A couple of successes I want to share with you guys real quick. Number one, I got to over 10,000 steps, did a lot of different walks yesterday around the neighborhood, which was very nice for my family. So 10,000 steps for day one, check. And I want to try to do that every day if I can. And I will hold myself accountable to do so. And number two, no Mountain Dew yesterday. I love Mountain Dew, but no Mountain Dew. Didn't have a single drop. All I had is water and a Gatorade. That was it. So good. 2 successes. 2 successes. We'll weigh ourselves like the New York Jets' biggest loser on a week-to-week basis starting next week. So I'm very much looking forward to all of that. So I appreciate that. So thank you for all the love out there in the audience. It's very meaningful. Thank you. I will have a special co-host for today's show. He'll be joining us here in just a few minutes. But while we wait, let's get into a variety of the news nuggets for the New York Jets. Let's start off here. The New York Jets have signed a bunch of guys and cut a bunch of guys. Let's recap all of that real quick. The Jets have signed Daquan Felton, wide receiver, and signed linebacker Chase Wilson. Now, to open up these 2 roster spots, to bring these people on the team, the Jets had to kick 2 people off the island. Lenny Krieg, the German kicker, is gonzo. Linebacker Kobe King was waived injured, which means he should be, sort of on waivers. No one's going to claim him because he's injured. Then he's going to revert back to the Jets team. So there's some moves happening. And whoa. Look at this. It's Jake Asman jumping in the chat, baby, with a super chat here on the show. Let's go. Hit it, people.
Wow.
They call Boy Green 10K Steps McGee, folks, and 10K is what I'm shooting for on YouTube, baby. We're about 1,300 subscribers away. So any help y'all can do in the audience to get my YouTube channel over the top, I'd appreciate that as well. So 10K steps, lose a little bit of weight, and 10K subscribers. I didn't even think about that sort of symmetry that exists. Thank you, Jake Asman, the great Jake Asman. Been tuning into some Jets collective action, and for good reason. Jake, we've put that towards your raffle ticket total this month. Thank you, sir. Boy Green, 10K Steps McGee. We got to get that on a t-shirt. Appreciate that. Jake Asman here on the chat. So let's go. But Daquan Felton, and thank you, Jake. Daquan Felton is a former Giants wide receiver. He was with the team last year and this year. I'll explain. He's 6'5". You love the size. Hey, you can't teach that, baby. Daquan Felton didn't get drafted last year. He was a rookie last year. Goes undrafted, signs with the Giants, spends the whole offseason with the Giants last year, makes it to final roster cuts, and then he gets hurt. So they waive him. He reverts back, sort of what could happen here with Kobe King. Waives him. Sorry, I get so emotional talking about Daquan Felton here. Is that, the Giants cut him as a waived injured player. He reverted back to the team, and he's been with the team up until April, early April of this year. Then he was actually cut, and then the Jets had just added to the roster in June. So, hey, big wide receivers works for me. Chase Wilson was with the team on a tryout basis during rookie minicamp, and he adds on to the team. So Chase Wilson and Kobe King are a one-for-one swap, and you just add another receiver to the mix. The Jets are now down to 2 kickers in this game show of trying to find the next kicker of the New York Jets. Lenny Krieg has been eliminated. More on him in just a second because I want to welcome in my special co-host for today's festivities. Well done. I'm happy that this is finally happening. He's called into the show a bunch. He does his own Jets content creation on his channel that is Rickie New York Live. And for the first time ever, he is my co-host for an episode of Boy Green Daily. Let's bring him in. The one and only, often imitated, never duplicated, Rickie New York Live, baby. What's up, Rickie? Good morning.
Hey, how you doing this morning, Paul?
Sometimes I was just saying at the beginning of the show that sometimes we get to a June day and we're like, what are we going to talk about today? That was no issue today, Rickie New York Live. That was no issue today, and I'm looking forward to unpacking it with all of our audience, but with you in particular here on the show today.
Awesome. Yeah, the Jets gave us plenty of stuff to talk about this morning, so awesome timing.
Yes, quite. And I see it in the audience. Everyone's showing off their Rickie New York Live emojis in the chat. NY Jets fandom, Austrian. Everybody's showing it. That's one of my favorite emojis that Gator, the very talented Gator, has ever made on this channel. Booyah! There you go. Some Rickie New York Live action, baby. Frozen in time and here with us on the show today. So much appreciated.
Yeah, for sure, man. And appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, man. I've been looking forward to this for sure.
Well, I'm glad. Well, originally we had some other plans for today's show, so we're still going to do that show. I'm going to have to bring you back as a co-host for another episode. As long as this goes well for you, Rickie, that you enjoy it. We'll do this again, and we'll definitely unpack that show. But we'll go to the roster moves the Jets made first. Were you titillated by any of these moves? The Jets signing Daquan Felton. I mean, there's some love for him out in the audience. Shout out to him, former Virginia Tech product, I believe. And then you have Chase Wilson, the linebacker. They got rid of Lenny Krieg, and they waived Kobe King. Let's talk about the signings first. Is there anything there that revs your engine?
Well, yeah, and I like the Daquan Felton thing. 6'5" wide receiver. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Big target for in the red zone. And as I'd mentioned probably previously, I don't know if I talked about it on this show or not, but I have talked about it. We have a UDFA that's there trying out with the Jets right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is Malik McLean. Mm-hmm. And for all you people that have been gobbling up the Cade Klubnik highlights, all those completions he's been throwing, it seemed like the majority of them were going to McLean in practice. And I kept noticing that. He's another big receiver like that. And so I'm like, man, there's a couple of 6'5" receivers. And so let's just say if Frank Reich has a type, it looks like he's targeting that type. So that'd be something to keep an eye on, man. Maybe add a big red zone threat to this new look Jets offense.
I'd love some of that action. So if that can happen, that'd be spectacular. So keep an eye on some of these new additions. But to me, the most notable departure here is Lenny Krieg, German-born kicker, originally part of the NFL's International Pathway Program. His sort of claim to fame last year was he hit a 57-yarder in the preseason. In a Falcons-Lions preseason game. He was on the Falcons practice squad all last season. He was added to this roster. Total mystery in terms of the three kickers. We knew about the other two, which we can talk about in a second. But Lenny Krieg gone. Do you like the Jets' decision to eliminate one of the contestants from this game show? And now we're down to two.
Well, I hate to see one of my fellow Germans leave. For those of you who don't know, I celebrated a birthday last week.
Yes.
And in 1968, in Hamburg, Germany, I was born.
Wow.
Military brat. So, they were just there briefly. I really literally only spent a few months there, and I don't remember any of it. But all the same, I was born in Germany. So, too bad, but you know what? This is basically, your audition. This is your shot to join the NFL, the greatest sport on the planet. And for your job audition, you're no better than 50-50 from 40 yards. Yeah, that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly any better than the footballs you're kicking, Mr. Lenny Krieg. So we are sorry, but no thank you.
Yeah. So now we're down to two kickers on the Jets roster real quick. And again, we got a bunch of news to get into. We'll get into all of it slowly but surely here, methodically here on Boy Green Daily. We have nearly 300 people in the room. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys like the video. That is free to do. Hit subscribe. That's free to do. Also, check out Rickie New York Live on YouTube. He has his own Jets content creation that is cooking up, which you guys may have been tuning into here recently. If not, make sure you jump on that train. That's terrific. The two kickers left are Cade York and Younghoe Koo. Cade York, for me, big leg, but wildly inconsistent. It's been very difficult for him to hit the broadside of a barn, which I don't love. On the Younghoe Koo point, apparently, shout out to Hop on Pop, he had this stat when we were in New Hampshire. Younghoe Koo is the 23rd most accurate kicker in NFL history, which I was unaware of that fun fact. So he's had some good years in Atlanta, the Pro Bowl year, in a dome, all that wonderful stuff. But recently, it's been rough, including the Brandon Tierney rant that just went up on the Jets Collective podcast of him kicking the turf instead of the ball, and then that causing a whole bunch of hoopla here. But I turn this to you, Rickie, to say, do you believe that the Jets starting kicker for 2026 is on the roster right now?
It's very possible. Unless, he proves to be very inconsistent through, training camp as we get towards the preseason. Because, it could even look good in camp, but you have one really disaster preseason game and things could change very quickly. Mm-hmm. However, me personally, I have a feeling we go into the year with Younghoe Koo as our kicker. And I know one day, I was listening to you, and I believe it was when you had Snowball and Johnny on, mm-hmm. and you were talking about inside versus outside. Yes. that there's been a lot of talk about that, the fact that he kicked in a dome and this and that. So I actually pulled up the thing, and I think I sent you the link that had his game by game stats. And looking over it, I was like, you know what? It really does not appear that he's, any worse outside than he is inside. It wasn't whether he was kicking indoors or not. It was the length of the kicks that seemed to be the determining factor with him. Inside 40 yards, he was like automatic. From 40 to 50 yards, it dropped down to more like 70%-ish. And then beyond 50 yards, it was 50-50. 50 or more was 50-50, which that didn't drive me crazy. But what I took away from it when I really looked at it, I was like, okay, you know what? This guy is a good kicker with a very definitive range that he's good within. So, for the Jets, that would be my game plan is, hey, you know what? If we're going to get in a situation where we're going to kick, let's make sure that we're close enough where our guy can nail it. And so, as of now, I think that we'll probably end up going into the year with him as a kicker.
That's my gut as well. I believe so. I believe he will be the kicker. And then from there, we'll see what happens. We'll see how long the leash is. Hopefully, we don't have to pull any of those levers. Before we get into Russell Wilson, another thing that didn't even make the headline, but to me, thank goodness, some drama avoided, is the Jets have put pen to paper. Omar Cooper Jr., you are a New York Jet. Not that that was in question, but we've had too many years, Rickie, where we drip into training camp and there's offset language and this nonsense and drama headlines. And the most important thing to me is that I don't want our young players missing critical time that they could be developing. That they could be learning the playbook, getting chemistry with their quarterback. To have this just locked in, there's one player left, and we'll get into him later, that remains unsigned for this draft class. But this was just news of oh, thank goodness. Because there was still a large chunk of rookies, first rounders, that weren't signed. I think it was 18 or 19, and then Omar is signed, so I don't know what the number is now. Now I don't care anymore because I know the three that matter are all under contract with the New York Jets. So this was more a sigh of relief for me than anything else yesterday, Rickie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait to get all of our guys out there and on the field. But in particular, those top picks. I want those guys out there. Obviously Sadiq had the procedure, so he's not out there right off the bat. But yeah, it's good to see Cooper out there. And you know what? From all indications, the Jets players who have been here really enjoy this new Frank Reich offense. Garrett Wilson called it a player empowering offense, which is interesting terminology and interesting description. But you know what? To see Garrett and to see Brees smiling and happy, getting ready to go into another season, makes me happy, warms my heart. So I'm looking forward to this year, and having a functional offense with a functional quarterback, and a functional Jets team. Are you kidding me? Yeah, let's go, man.
Yes, please, please, please. Well, let me ask you this real quick. Expectations for Omar Cooper Jr. in his rookie season. We're talking about target share when he called into the show yesterday. Where does Omar Cooper Jr. fit into all this? Because, a first-round pick, that player should be very impactful. That should be something. But at the same time, they're a rookie. So you also have to, sort of calibrate things appropriately. But this was a big mission of the offseason, Rickie. I've written it a bunch of times for Heavy.com that, the Jets needed to get more help around Garrett Wilson, and they've accomplished that mission. Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, and then some of the work that even happened after the trade deadline, and Adonai Mitchell type. You already had Mason Taylor. You've locked in Brees Hall. There's a lot of talent around here. So I think mission success. But what should expectations be for Omar Cooper Jr. in year number one?
I would say that, people should probably temper their expectations a little bit because he is a rookie, and it's tough for your offensive skill position guys to just hit the ground running like that. I mean, sure, there's a Jamar Chase or something every so often, but typically, guys don't come in and just completely light it on fire from day one. So maybe a little bit of a slower start as he's getting up to speed, getting used to the speed of the NFL game, getting used to the terminology, and getting used to his new quarterback. But all in all, I would say he probably approaches somewhere close to 50 receptions, probably close to 500 yards, and throw a couple of scores in there for good measure. And I think that's probably a reasonable estimate.
Okay. Well, again, we can only hope that he just has sort of that immediate impact that we're all hoping for. Again, inside outside versatility. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how Frank Reich deploys him in this offense. There's no question about it. Again, we got 300 people in the room across our social media platforms, but Stack 87, you noticed. There's 100 of those 300 in the chat, but only 33 likes. Math not mathed, people. I agree, Stack 87. Come on, people. Like the video. That is a free way to contribute to the show. Get this Jet show in front of other Jet fans out there in the audience. We've got a lot to continue to unpack here, Rickie. And the next one is the Russell Wilson situation. Yesterday, we got a new plot twist here. Is that Russell Wilson is finalizing a deal to become a CBS sports analyst, according to ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. Russell Wilson did work out for the New York Jets in early May. He revealed that the Jets offered him some sort of a contract that he was apparently mulling before making this decision. So, in some form or fashion, potentially here, if what Russell Wilson says is true, then he sort of rejected the Jets here in terms of turning it over to a broadcasting career, analyst career of some kind. Did the Jets dodge a bullet here? And is it actually better news that Russell Wilson chose to go in a different direction?
I think it might be. And, I can't remember exactly who it was that posted it the other day, but somebody posted a thing and it was like, two NFL quarterbacks that need to please just retire already. And you could easily probably lump Russ into that category. As you're on your weight loss journey, I don't want to sit here and body shame anybody, but last time I saw Russ on TV, he looked like he had thrown a couple extra Twinkies into that training regiment. And and sometimes when you're just done, you're done. I know even me in my professional life, away from YouTube, like there have been times where I've been in jobs where, I just felt I can't learn anything more here. I think I can't accomplish anything more. And man, sometimes when it's time to move on, you know it. And kudos to Russ. I mean, it would have been very easy for him to say, hey, I'll cash some more of those big fat NFL checks. And as long as the money's coming in, who cares? But I think that he cares about what kind of product he puts out on the field. Russ of late has not been, Russ like it was in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so, I actually do think we kind of dodged a bullet on that one. And I'm okay with that. And you know what? I think I'll probably have a better time listening to Russ on TV than I would if I was watching him potentially in a game for us. So
that's fair. I'm curious though, because like all of this is interesting. So the Jets did legitimately work him out, and apparently all the beat reporters got the nugget that when the Jets acquired Geno Smith, they said, hey, Geno, who are some of your preferences for backup? Because you're clearly our guy, but who would you prefer? And apparently during some of those conversations, he said, oh, Russell. I love Russell. If he's available, I'd love him. And they worked him out. And the thing where I start my eyebrow raises, I don't really, have this strong of a sense of this yet. I'm still too young, perhaps. But there's this journalistic antenna that my partner on the Man-Child show talks about all the time, that like when something doesn't add up, it starts going off. Like, so Russell Wilson revealed that that event that the New York Post was at, that he was offered by the Jets, and people have perceived that to be a contract offer. Like, hey, Russell, we want you to be the QB2 for the Jets. And the way he phrased it suggested that at any point, if Russell Wilson was ready, he could sign this contract, and in theory, boom, he would be the QB2 of the New York Jets. But I go over here to Mark Cicchetti's comment from the beginning of the show. It was before the show started, that he's like, I don't think they really offered him QB2. Do you think that they so they worked him out and said, hey, buddy, here's a contract. You're QB2, buddy. And, think about it. And then, like, over the last month, They've just set up, well, I guess we're on pins and needles whether or not he's going to be the guy. Because like AG, when he's spoken at these media opportunities, has said, we like our quarterback room and, we're good with where we're at right now. And if what Russell said was true, at any point that dynamic could have changed because he could have signed to just join the team. So what's the truth with all this? Are you buying this or is this BS?
Yeah, I think in this instance, both things could be true.
Okay, do tell.
I do think they made him an offer, and I think that had he decided to sign it, he probably could have signed it and joined the team. What I don't buy is that contract offer was, hey, sign this and you're automatically QB2. The way AG is constantly preaching competition, I think that he would have come in and, Zappy or, Cade could have challenged him for QB2. I think it would have been a true kind of competition. And, if you're Russ, that probably also factored into his thinking, like, hey, what if I go in there and I compete for QB2 and I don't get it? That can be a possibility. What if I go in and their 4th round pick, who probably could have been a 1st or 2nd if it hadn't been for his disastrous 2025 season, outperforms me? What if me as a former Super Bowl quarterback gets beat out by a 4th round pick? Like, is that really a desirable final chapter for my story? Perhaps not. Perhaps it would be better to, there's a line in a rock and roll song that, that says it's better to burn out than fade away. Well, in this case, I think Russ is thinking, hey, better just to fade away than flame out. So I can see the thinking from either way, but I don't think that he would have been guaranteed QB2. I think he would have had to compete, and at this stage of his career, I just think that he probably found it more appealing to do the TV gig.
Which, by the way, if he had to compete, and I get it, compete. That was Aaron Glenn's magic word last year. If a 10-time Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion quarterback lost out to either Bailey Zappi, who has like 10 career starts, or Cade York, who's a 4th round rookie, or Brady Cook, who we all know how that went last year, like that would be nuts. Like, to me, again, I thought that Aaron Glenn, if he had the choice, and he does, he seems like he wears the pants of the relationship and makes a lot of key decisions, that he would have tried to add a prominent, whatever that word means, proven QB2 behind Geno because of what happened last year, of that once Justin Fields went out and Tyrod is durability concerns, and then Brady Cook, like, yikes, that was a disaster. I thought that what Aaron Glenn would want and what the fans would want would be different. I think the fans, if things go south with Geno, want to see Cade Klubnik. At least there's some exciting unopened gift under the Christmas tree there of like intrigue. We're all excited about rookie quarterbacks, whatever round they're drafted in. Like, I think AG, what I thought, was going to want a veteran quarterback, just someone that could come in there and be a pro. He doesn't have to be a superstar, could just run the offense in case all hell breaks loose. And maybe he thinks that could be Bailey Zappi, maybe, I guess, but there isn't a long track record of history that says that's going to be the case. So I'll ask you the same question I asked you about the kicker position, Rickie. Is the QB2 on the Jets roster right now for this season?
Barring anything foreseen, I'll have to say yes. And believe it or not, I think that Cade Klubnik is going to be our number 2.
Oh, wow.
I think he ends up beating out Zappy. I actually like the young man. I like his demeanor. I don't know if I'm ready to join Klubnik quite yet. But, and we got to keep in mind, like, right now his completion percentage is perfect in shorts. with nobody really putting their hands on him. So, I kind of take it with a grain of salt. I haven't gone, quite as gung ho as some of my fellow fans, but I am very intrigued, and it's too bad. I think as Jets fans, some of us have gotten so used to being disappointed that no matter what the move is or who the player is, we automatically think, okay, this is the next thing that's going to go wrong, and there's what strikes me is the recency bias that so many people have. Like, if you're talking 2023, 2024, Cade Klubnik was one of the better quarterbacks in college football. And
Yes.
coming out of 2024 was arguably QB1 going into that following year's draft. Similar to Drew Aller, like those were the two big names. And then, both went back to school for another year. Both had awful years. And now they're both just bums. They're terrible, and people will say, oh, the mechanics, the footwork, the this, the that. Like, listen, those guys didn't forget how to play ball. Okay. There were a number of different things that factored into that. The bad O-line, the new offensive coordinator, the defense staking on that Clemson team, him dealing with two different injuries. I mean, there were a lot of things that factored into him having the down year that he had last year. That doesn't make him a bad prospect. And to me, it's funny because it reminds me a lot of the Geno Smith situation. A couple of years ago in Seattle, everybody's like, oh, look at Geno. He's resurrected his career. He kicks ass now. We should have just kept him. One bad year with the Raiders and like, oh, great, we're stuck with Geno Smith. He's a bum. Look what he did in Vegas. He stunk it up. Dude, one bad year doesn't make you a bad player. And a lot of different things factor into that. So I would suggest to everybody, like, don't focus so much on just the one bad year. Look at everything as a whole. Like, look at the big picture. Take the bird's eye view of the thing. Don't get like hyper focused on just the bad. And hey, like I like Cade. He seems like a really good young man. He certainly says all the right things. So I'm anxious to see what he can do. And hey, I said it from the beginning. I still think our franchise quarterback comes next year. I'm not ready to crown Cade King yet of New York. However, I said all along, hey, day 3, if you can draft a quarterback who turns out to be your long-term backup for the next 6-7 plus years, score. I'm perfectly good with that. So that's kind of what I'm expecting from him. But I like the player. I like the attitude, and wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, I'm not ready to crown one Cade Klubnik either, but I want to let Cade know that I am open to crowning him. If he wants to be, if he wants to do something to become a franchise quarterback as a 4th round pick, the crown, I just have to dust it off. I have to blow a little, some debris off it, but I'm ready to crown him if he wants to be, because EZ sent in a super chat the other day talking about it, that like, if a world exists where Cade is again, I use it just because my dad's a Cowboys fan, so I saw it, but Dak Prescott gets taken in the 4th round by the Dallas Cowboys. He wasn't supposed to play. Tony Romo was supposed to be the guy. In Seattle, he had like some back issue during a preseason game, and he had some of those issues previously. And all of a sudden, before you know it, the 4th round pick randomly is thrust out there well before anyone thought, and he was in the running for Rookie of the Year. I can't remember if he won it. I thought Zeke won it that year, but still, that they had gone on that crazy year. And it was a surprise. And whoa, I guess Dak is the guy. And now Dak's been around forever. He's still the highest paid quarterback in football right now. So I'm not ready to crown him now, but I want Cade to know I would be willing to crown him if the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny. As you were starting to say that, I was thinking in the back of my mind, the next Dak Prescott, because like you said, he was a 4th round pick. So yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting it either, but
Right. Sure.
hey, you know what? If he goes out there and always the old football adage, the best players are going to play. If he goes out there and he's the best player, dude, I'll tell you what, I'll get behind him without hesitation.
Well, let me ask you. This is probably a difficult question to answer, right? Let's say Cade at some point in the season. Let's say it's not like a 3-game stretch. Like it's something serious. Like either Geno sucks so bad or he gets hurt. God forbid. I don't want that to happen. Like halfway through the season, and Cade Klubnik gets a run of like 8 or 9 games, something like a significant sample size, relatively speaking. What would Cade have to do in that chunk of time for you to not take a quarterback in the first round of the 2027 NFL draft? Like, what would he have to do to move the needle so much you're like, actually, folks, we have our franchise quarterback and he's right here, and that you'd be willing to invest those first round picks and other things? What would Cade have to show you in that sample of time in your mind?
To be blunt and completely
Sure.
honest about it,
Okay.
He'd have to have like a Mark Sanchez rookie year, AFC championship game. I don't want to see any bad games or any inconsistency. I don't want to see an off day anywhere in that stretch. I want you to be undeniably the guy and take us as close to a Super Bowl as we could possibly get without actually going. And that's what it would take for me to not draft a quarterback. And you know what? I would probably still draft a quarterback.
Me too, just because. Like, what, do you have too many? Like, that's the thing. I don't know. Like, it's an intriguing thought of you of him going on a run now. I hope it's not statistically like Sanchez. Sanchez's rookie year, if I remember off the top of my head, was 12 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. So hopefully, and he had like a 5 interception game against Buffalo, if I remember, in 2009. So hopefully it's nothing like that. But I get what you're saying, to run the locomotive in terms of making this crazy run and winning games. Like, no excuses. Like, he's finding ways to win in matters, in moments that matter, excuse me. I still would probably take a quarterback, because what, do you have too many options? Because, like, let's say you're like, wow, Cade Klubnik's the guy. We're going to draft a freaking linebacker. We're going to draft a corner. We're going to draft all this stuff. And then all of a sudden you get into year 2 and Cade Klubnik fell off a cliff and now he's terrible. You're like, oh, blank. We thought he was the guy, and he's not.
Exactly.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So I think you have to, probably no matter what.
Yeah, I would still draft one and let the two of them fight it out. And if this new quarterback we draft can't outperform Klubnik, then we roll with Klubnik. But like I said, I think it's more likely that Cade becomes our long-term backup and we get our franchise quarterback next year. I've kind of got my personal pick for that, who I would prefer, and it's not who a lot of people would say. A lot of people are on the Arch Manning train.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily one of them.
So you're not marching for Arch?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Arch has been a decent college quarterback, but he hasn't been mind-blowing. He's just been pretty good for the most part. I mean, he could take another big step this year and maybe my opinion changes, but for right now he kind of has been pretty good. And I don't want to say, oh, well, why'd we draft that guy? The best thing about him was his last name. And so I'm not getting blinded by that last name. I will look at everybody, and me personally, I'm a Darian Mensah guy. Dom C was also a Darian Mensah guy. I liked him last year coming out from Duke, and now he's in Miami, and they got a bunch of weapons around him. Yeah, I think that he's going to take another big step this year, and that's who I want our eventual franchise to quarterback to be. But a lot of things can change. Who knows? Maybe Lenora Sellers finally puts it together and becomes the dual threat crazy quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be, and it just hasn't materialized yet. Maybe one of these other guys steps up. Maybe Dante Moore takes another big step. And at the end of next season, he'll go, hey, you know what? I changed my mind. I do want to play for the Jets. They got my buddy Kenyon Sadiq. They got all kinds of weapons. That's an awesome place for a young quarterback to go. And the way that we've set ourselves up, good, solid offensive line, I think more weapons than other teams are going to be able to deal with. You want to double Garrett? Fine. We got A.D. Mitchell. You want to bring a safety over to maybe help with him? Fine. We got Cooper in the slot. We got Sadiq that, we can motion out. We got Mason Taylor. We got Brees coming out of the backfield. Pick your poison. And I like that. I like the fact that we may end up having too many weapons for our opponents to be able to account for all of them.
That'd be a lovely place to be. I see a real quick comment here from Brian Failure. Says, does anyone know who drafted Luke Altmaier? He did not get drafted. He signed as an undrafted free agent with the Detroit Lions. So, so shout out to Luke. I know Johnny Boy was a big Luke Altmaier fan out there in the audience, so appreciate that. I see there's another question, Jets Worldwide. Who's on that T-shirt, Boy Grin, that says Dad? DAD, baby. For one of my kids had a thing, and then my fiance had one that said Mom, and the kids had one. So it was a photo opportunity that we did in the past. Honey, what was this shirt for? Holly's first birthday. There you go. That's it. So thank you for asking.
Did Altmaier not get drafted? I thought he did.
No, so unless Wikipedia is wrong, which is totally possible, it says undrafted 2026 Detroit Lions. So let me double check.
Okay, maybe so. For some reason, I thought he got drafted by Cleveland. I thought they took him.
They took Taylon Green. Cleveland did. Yeah. Unless they went back-to-back years taking multiple quarterbacks, which, by the way, would be hilarious if that was the case. But double check it if you see different, please, so I get accurate information. Yeah, Johnny Boy says he went undrafted. He was watching for him, so he believes it as well.
Okay.
So apparently he was. But sorry, Johnny Boy, I know that's bringing up some old wounds there for you. I apologize. But so apparently he went undrafted. We got a super chat coming in from Mac Mahar Khalil, baby, here on the program. Thank you, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
Mac, you got a raffle ticket to our giveaway, which I'll explain more in a second, but a $5 super chat coming through. Appreciate you, buddy. Good morning, BG and Rickie. What a great combo. Salt and pepper, mac and cheese, BG and Rickie. I like the sound of it. I like the cut of your jib, Mac. We may have to make this a regular thing. Gino and Cade both are coming into a well-rounded offense. Coaching needs to step up. Yeah, I think it was Jake on the Jake Asman show. That makes sense where it would have come from Jake. On his social media, I think is where I saw it, where he said he was just sort of looking over the roster and he was commenting to whoever his co-host was that, you know what, the roster's not that bad. And he started going through it. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And really, the pressure's on the coaching. If the roster looks great, then the coaching has to get the most juice out of that orange for putting it together. I agree the coaching needs to step up. I'm intrigued by a lot of storylines. AG calling the defense to me. I've heard a lot of people making jokes, but I thought he did a lot of great work in Detroit. He didn't get hired by the Jets to be the head coach because he looks pretty. You know, he got hired because of his prowess on the defensive side of the ball with the Lions. So to me, I'm intrigued to see him calling it. And he has months upon months to prepare. So if he is inadequate or not up to the challenge, there's no one to blame but himself. He's had months and months to prepare what it's going to look like of Brian Duker being his DC and helping him out with all the particulars during the week so he can call the plays on Sundays. I'm intrigued by Frank Reich calling the offense. I'm intrigued. Can Chris Bancho pull an encore? It was a spectacular debut. Was it a fluke? Was it a one-stop shop? I don't think so. He's been around a lot of smart people like Mike Westhoff. I think he's the real deal, but prove it. Are you the real deal? We have all these questions at kicker. Can you find a kicker? Can you just make the most? Can you make chicken salad out of chicken? You know what? Can you figure that out? Can you repeat your performance? So I have a lot of coaching questions, but in an intriguing way. Like, I'm intrigued to see where all of these are going to go. But I agree. I think the talent on the roster, if I'm nitpicking, like competition at center I talked about on the show yesterday, some depth at linebacker so you're not forcing Jamin Sherwood potentially back into the same role that he was criticized for last year if Jamario gets hurt. I don't love that we're one move away from that happening. I don't love that. So, but again, every team, I imagine, we go to a Lions podcast, a Rams, well, maybe not Rams after getting Myles Garrett, but every other team of having some issue. I imagine a lot of them do. So I'm nitpicking here, but yeah, I think coaches need to deliver here, quite frankly, Rickie.
Yeah, I do too. And Yo, Holmes, stop. It's too early in the morning for that type of negativity. Special teams single-handedly lost us game 1. Yeah, and they won us 2 more games after that single-handedly. So
yeah, come on.
Come on, man.
And you're blaming Chris Banjo and Xavier Gibson fumbling the ball? Was that a technique issue? Come on, Yo Holmes. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah,
blaming Chris Banjo on the Braylon Allen broken leg and half kick return decision.
Like, listen, Chris Banjo, I think, did a really good job. And dude, Isaiah Williams in his first game was the worst thing I had ever seen. I mean, like, after that disaster, and then the Jets cut him right after. Like,
Week
I was
4,
thinking, I was thinking that guy just embarrassed himself right out of the league, you know. And then a couple of weeks later, they bring him back, and I was livid. I was like, "What in the hell are the Jets doing? This guy sucked." And he turned out to be one of the better returners in the league.
Team MVP.
Yeah. So, you know, I definitely have faith in Banjo. And, I mean, it does come down to coaching. And you know what? If you were to tell Aaron Glenn, hey, man, it's all going to come down to you, there's going to be no excuses this year, I think he would probably tell you that's the way he liked it. Mm-hmm. Anytime there was any kind of criticism since he's gotten here, he'll say, well, you know what? I got to look at myself first. I got to do a better job getting these guys ready. AG will stand up in front of that microphone and he'll take the bullets for his guys. And I like that. And there are no more excuses, but, you know, and I'm an AG believer. So, you know, maybe I'm a little bit biased when it comes to that. But I'm not blind to the fact that he had a really rough first year. But I'm also not, you know, naive enough to think that it was all him. There were a lot of things that factored into that disaster of a year. You know, I've said it before. You lose 2 of your 3 starting corners, your best pass rusher going down the stretch. Like, that's going to be rough on any team. But that being said, like, you know, it kills me sometimes when, like, I don't want to say the AG haters, but we'll say the doubters, you know,
sure.
We'll say, oh, we had this great draft. We've done all this. Everything looks good. Now it's we got to see if, you know, the coaching can do anything. Like they always have to bring up like, oh, you know, it at least AG set it up, you know, good for the next coach that comes in or something like that. Me personally, I think AG is going to be here through 2027 regardless of results. Mm-hmm. Unless he had just an abysmal year that was as bad or worse than last year, I think he's going to be here regardless. I think they're going to give him and Mooj the opportunity to make all those draft picks that they acquired and see what they can develop. But I like where we're at. You know, Onyemata, you know, sixth in the league against the run. You look at Tavondre Sweat, you look at the guys we've added. We will be able to stop the run, which has been, you know, one of our big Achilles heels. And, dude, I just like the, you know, in particular, the free agents, but also our draft picks, just the grittier, more, you know, physical type football players that they've brought in. So I'm very encouraged with, you know, where it looks like we're headed this year. And I can't wait for it to get going.
I can't either. We have 400 plus people across our social media platforms, including over 100 on YouTube. Only 62 likes. People on YouTube, like that video. It's free to do. Make it a part of your routine. Every time you're watching the show, like that video. Also, hit subscribe. We're 6 subscribers away from 6,000. Well, let me make sure I get my number accurate here. 6,670 subscribers here on the channel. Now, let me do some more yelling at Yo Holmes here. He says, Folk is awesome, not Banjo. Is Austin McNamara awesome, but not Banjo? Is Thomas Hennessy awesome but not Banjo? Is Qantas Stiggers awesome but not Banjo? Right? We start going through the list and you're like naming every special teamer. You're like, huh, that's weird. What's the commonality? Oh, yeah, Chris Banjo's coaching them all. Come on, Yo Holmes. The disrespect for Chris Banjo to make it seem like he came into this situation that special teams was amazing and he's just like driving the Porsche that was already driven for him. Excuse me, were the Jets amazing on special teams in 2024? No, I don't remember that being the case. So come on, man. Come on.
Right, and Chris Banjo turned Isaiah Williams from disaster into one of the better returners in the league, team MVP, like you said. He took Arian Smith. Oh, guy can't get on the field as a receiver. You know what? I can use him as a gunner with that speed, and found a role for him. And numerous guys that we plugged in. He's developed enough and done enough with those guys that, hey, you know what? Irv Charles, we can send him on his way. We've got other guys that are ready to step up and take that role. Now we got VJ Payne. We'll see what he can add to the special teams, possibly in one of those roles. So, yeah, Banjo is like the guy that I'm probably least worried about.
By the way, apparently I don't know if sometimes the words in my head and the words that come out of my mouth. I'm at 8,660. Maybe I said 6,000. My apologies. I'm trying to discredit all of it. 8,666, I believe, is what we're at. So we're a few away from that. But no, so this is just because I guess I could yell at Yo Holmes all day. So he says Folk could kick before Banjo. We all know this. Did you know Austin McNamara could kick, who had 12 workouts with teams, but the 13th workout was with the Jets after the private punter show out in Arizona that the Jets scouted him at and then brought him back? Come on, give credit where credit is due. Yes, could Nick Folk kick? Apparently he could, but he was still unemployed in late July, but take that for whatever you will. And then go to, what about Austin McNamara? You have not, Yo Holmes, you have nothing to say about Austin McNamara. He was on the Bengals last year, and then he got cut, and then he disappeared from the ethos, didn't play for anybody. Then he's doing this private punting kicking competition workout combine out there in Arizona, the Jets discover him at, and then he was like this elite, amazing punter. So, like, come on, man. Come on. Let's just give – I didn't know I was going to have to defend Chris Banjo this morning, but I guess you never know what possibly could happen. But that's neither here nor there. I want to – we had a lot of breaking news yesterday, Rickie. Myles Garrett, A.J. Brown, a lot of crazy crap happened. Russell Wilson retiring. But we have some more news, and I want your reaction to it. Hit it, people. From Adam Schefter. Indianapolis Colts quarterback Daniel Jones was cleared Monday to participate in 7-on-7 drills, making yet another significant step back to a torn right Achilles tendon. You tell me, give it to me straight here, Rickie. What do you believe the Colts are going to be in 2026? Because the Jets fans should obviously have vested interest, considering we hold their first-round draft choice, and we want them, with all due respect, to be as terrible as possible. I got a Colts voodoo doll over here that would like to be pricked.
I'm going with hot mess.
Okay.
I think it's going to be rough. He's probably not going to be, and that's awesome. Good to hear for him. However, I think he's probably, going to not start the beginning of the year. The Sauce Gardner acquisition did not win them any games down the stretch. And hey, I mean, they did draft some good players, linebacker C.J. Allen, safety A.J. Halsey, some guys that I really liked. So they got some thumpers that they added to their defense. But listen, I think they made a massive overpay with Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman no longer there to attract any attention. Teams are going to be able to focus on Pierce. And, I think that magical, unexpected season they had last year with Daniel Jones, I see it regressing a little bit and taking a step back, which, hey, for us, that's good, So, yeah. And, hey, not just the Colts. And initially, like, I was thinking, hey, and we also get that Cowboys/Packers pick. And so in the back of my mind, don't tell your dad, but I'm kind of rooting for the Cowboys to kind of fall off a little bit. But then I really started looking at it and listening to some other people. And you know what? It's very possible that the Packers take a really big step back this year. And that may end up being the better of those picks because, dude, Romeo Dobbs, dude, he was their chain mover. When we were getting into free agency and when I still, had the idea of Willis and Dobbs, we'll bring them in together and those can be our guys, and started watching the Malik Willis tape. Dude, it seemed like all the big chain moving plays, they were all Romeo Dobbs. And, hey, you know what? We're still going to face him. He's in our division now. But that being said, they didn't win any games when they lost Micah Parsons last year. He's out to start the year. You know what? I could see them losing a few games at the beginning of the year before Micah Parsons comes back and kind of putting themselves behind the 8 ball. And then as good as Jordan Love is at times he's still wildly inconsistent, and he has the tendency to get banged up and miss a few games every year, it seems like. And so, they lose a few games early, and then Jordan Love misses some time later in the year. And, oh, yeah, they don't have a Malik Willis to step in anymore. They got Tyrod Glasshouse Taylor, who and listen, I love Tyrod, the guy, but unfortunately, with his injury history, you just can't, that's putting all your eggs in a very fragile basket, to me. So, like, if you ask me, there is a real chance that the Packers could find themselves in a hole early that's hard to dig out of.
Very much so. And so we'll get back into all that in just a second. There's a lot of super chats coming in. First off, I always want to educate on this show. If there's ever things that Jet fans don't understand or anything, and Troy Sturgis asks a great question. BG, explain the Packers-Cowboys combined pick thing. I don't understand, which is it. Some people didn't even know that was a thing. Like when I explained that to another Jet fan the other day, wait, what? So, yes. So what, and shout out to Darren Muji. What a great negotiation. My father's still pissed about this, that like the Cowboys gave this up as part of the trade. It still makes him angry. So that's great. So what happened is the Cowboys initially offered the Jets a first rounder in the 2026 NFL draft and a second rounder in 2027. The Jets said, hey, flip that. Give us your second this year. We'll take your first in 2027. And also on top of whatever, because you have multiple firsts, you have your own Cowboys and the Packers because the Micah Parsons deal. We want the better of the 2 first-round picks. And somehow the Cowboys agreed, which is nuts. But here it is. So this is what it means, Troy. So real quick, the Jets have their own first-round pick next year. That's easy, whatever they do. They have the Colts first-round pick, whatever they do. There's no conditions or anything. Then they have whatever pick ends up being better. So what does that mean? So if the Cowboys themselves have the 10th overall pick, and the Packers have the 20th overall pick, the Jets will get the Cowboys pick, which is 10th overall. Whichever pick ends up being higher, the Jets automatically get. If the Cowboys pick is top 5 and the Packers pick is top 10, the Jets get the top 5 pick. So you get whatever pick is higher. Sometimes it could be a minuscule difference, right? Because Cowboys and Packers, in theory, should be really good. So it could be 20 versus 22. Or if the right injury happens, someone slips and slides on a ramp, anything happens. Dak has been seriously injured before, unfortunately for him. Jordan Love, I don't think he's had a massive injury. He's been slightly injured. That's how we saw the Malik Willis stuff last year. So if an injury happens, who knows how that can change destiny. So, yes, the Jets get whatever the better pick ends up being. It's a conditional pick. So we'll know at the end of the regular season where then, or potentially beyond, if they go make playoff runs. I guess that could potentially change it if both teams make the playoffs. But it's whatever the better pick is the third first round pick the Jets will get on top of having their own in the Colts. But I appreciate you asking that. We have a couple of super chats in here. Let's get to each of these. First off, a huge shout out to Hear Me Out on YouTube, a $10 super chat coming through. Here we go.
Wow.
And every time I hear from Hear Me Out, it's been a while, but every time I hear from him, it reminds me of the origin story of this YouTube channel, which, by the way, will be 6 years old in September of this year, a couple months away. I used to do pre-game shows and post-game shows for the 2020 New York Jets. By the way, folks, they were 2-14 that year. That's when I decided to start my YouTube channel, doing pre-games and post-games for what was Adam Gase's final year with the Jets. And there was only probably 5 people watching that show. My mother, my father, me as I rewatched the shows, and Hear Me Out was there at the very beginning of my YouTube channel. He's a Seattle Seahawks fan, and he just sort of stumbled in to my random show with 3 subscribers, and he subscribed and sort of been around the entire time, which is cool. So thank you, Hear Me Out. He sent in this $10 super chat. All hail Boy Green. Seahawks Super Bowl was amazing. Congratulations, and you're welcome for the Jets, Sam Darnold, Wrinkle, and Leonard Williams, and every other former Jet that's on that team. You're welcome. And my son was a freshman at Indiana last year. Oh, wow, that's super cool. Good for you, man. That's amazing. National championship Super Bowl, a hell of a year for you. Hear Me Out. It's time for your Jets to reward your commitment. There's no question about it. Oh my, I can't even imagine what it would be. I do dream about it, of the Jets winning the Super Bowl. Rickie, you and me, with content creation, going through that entire journey of training camp, preseason. I imagine we're not going 17-0 in whatever that Super Bowl year is. So there's going to be highs of like winning streaks. There's going to be low of losing streaks. Making the playoffs would be this seismic thing. Winning. I've never done these shows for playoffs before. When I started this audio only version of the show that used to be called the Jet Zone, it was past, unfortunately, the AFC Championship years. It was in like the 2013, 2012, right around Geno Smith's first whack at the Pinata Jets is when I first started doing podcasting. So, no, I've never done playoffs on here before, so that would be amazing. Thank you. Congrats on 8,660 subscribers. We're trying to make a chase to 10,000. Once I get anything past 10,000, it's gravy. My fiance and kids want whatever that YouTube plaque thing is. That's 100,000. I don't know if that's happening anytime soon. Appreciate the goal, but yeah, 10,000 is where I want to go, and we'll see if we could get there. So Hear Me Out. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that super chat out there in the audience. Now, Rickie, are you much of a voodoo guy?
Not necessarily.
Are you against it?
Not necessarily.
Okay, phenomenal. Well, let's punch this one off your bucket list.
Wow.
All right, Hear Me Out. You have 3 raffle tickets to our contest. Let's get to Spin Max Dave. He says, take out the voodoo doll, BG. Voodoo doll needs to overcome the Blue Devil. Play the tune. So we haven't done this often here, Rickie. For some, it scares some of our people out in the audience. I think it's a little creepy, but we got to do whatever we got to do. So without further ado, let's play the chanting in the background. Okay. Somewhat in the past, Bob Lederer was talking about we should cast a voodoo spell of some sort on the Colts. And I went like, I wonder if they sell Colts voodoo dolls online. And I went to eBay and I found a Colts voodoo doll from a woman named Medusa, of course, who makes Indianapolis Colts voodoo dolls and sells them. And here he is. Here's this creepy little bastard. This is
Nice.
this is Bobby Jr. That's his nickname. And I've got a pin here with your name all over it, Rickie. So you tell me what's about to happen here. Here you go. Here are the pins. These little skull pins. Creepy ass little thing. So we're gonna stab him. Where should I stab him? Someone asked for the groin at one point. We've gotten an Achilles in here. Do you have any preferences of where this thing's getting shanked?
Yeah, we're gonna stick it right in the heart.
Nice.
It's not something that's happened to Jets fans all too often over the years, and yeah.
Here we go. Screw you, buddy. Yeah, right there in the chest. There you go, you little bastard. There you go. Voodoo. There we go. Nice.
Yes, that's the 4 wins or less spin.
Okay, nice. Let's get him back in there. Nice. So that was for you, Spin Max Dave. And by the way, that chanting, if it sounds familiar, that is from the QB2 movie. When I was trying to think of like what's the proper, sort of like spooky action I can get. And so I went to YouTube and it just hit me. I'm like, wow, what about the Scooby Doo scene where they're doing the weird chanting and doing the dancing and everything? I said, what if I can rip the audio from that and then get it on a loop and then we can have it while we're, shanking Cole's voodoo dolls. And there you go. So Spin Max Dave, we just did our part. So yeah, screw the Colts, baby. Yes, right in the heart. Thank you for that, Rickie. That's terrific. Appreciate that. Yeah,
no problem at all. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the Colts earning us a top 5 pick. So
could you imagine that after all the crap that Sauce Gardner took during his career, we had to always defend him that, okay, sure, he may have only had a handful of interceptions in his career, but the greatest gift he could give the Jets is a franchise quarterback. He gave us Kenyon Sadiq, thank you very much. And now he could get us a franchise quarterback in 2027. We should put Sauce Gardner in the Ring of Honor if he does that. I'm ready to build him a statue if he delivers our franchise quarterback.
Absolutely. And, as much as I enjoy everything we've done up to this point, and initially once the draft wrapped up, I went, okay, we know who we drafted. Everything's all done. I'm not going to think about the 3 next years, and then I don't know, some random person posted like one of those way too early 2027 mocks. And
yeah.
I'm such a draft junkie that I couldn't help myself. I was like, you know what? Let me do one of those. I'll just do one. And hell, I think I've done 20 since then. Because I can't wait to like complete this puzzle.
Yes.
And right now the way they have the quarterbacks ranked, it's kind of all over the place, and a lot can change with this upcoming season.
And I've seen some of them, by the way, on your Twitter account, which we're streaming live. You're tagged on the live tweet post. But like, if people, and make sure you follow his Twitter. If you're following me, you'll see him. It's on the live show tweet that's currently live this morning. Go over to it. But Rickie New York posts these cool graphics where he shows his mock draft results, and I love like scanning through and seeing them for 2027. Or he did it obviously for 2026 as well. So that was fun.
And what's funny is because they have some of the quarterbacks that I like ranked a little bit later, I wasn't even using our top pick on quarterback in pretty much any of those mocks. And I had some people push back and they're like, oh, dude, there's no way they're waiting that late to draft a quarterback. And I'm like, hey, I don't make the rankings. I just take advantage of them. So, yeah, I know that's probably not the way it'll unfold. But typically my first pick when it's like a top 3 or 4 pick like that has been your guy Leonard Moore from Notre Dame almost every time. Phenomenal player. And I keep thinking to myself, what if we walk away from that draft with like a shutdown corner like that to pair with Pons and AZ, and we get like a really good pass rusher like Colin Simmons from Texas or Dylan Stewart from South Carolina to bookend Bailey going forward, and we get our franchise quarterback, we could be so set. Notre Dame also has a really good safety, Tay Johnson, that I like quite a bit. But dude, there's so many different combinations of guys that could fall under that umbrella. Like, I'm stoked. I'm really excited. And I know people are going to say, oh, like kicker, I'm not really worried about, like, the kicker thing will work itself out. But like depth at linebacker, we could still improve at safety. I personally think that the linebacker situation this year is going to mirror the defensive tackle situation from last year.
Ooh, okay.
We get to camp and things don't look the way that they want it to look. I think they bring in, like a Bobby Okereke, the Giants, or somebody like that as depth. I think it'll be similar to like the Briggs and Phillips thing last year. So I'm not sweating the linebacker thing too much. As we were talking about my future mock drafts, in almost all of them, in the second round, I took the center from LSU, Braden Moore.
Yeah.
There's our long-term center. And hey, once upon a time, we had a center from LSU, and he was the best center that I've ever watched in my entire life. So I would go down that path again. But yeah, and again, I'm getting ahead of myself, thinking about that. There's a lot to focus on this year, and I'm super excited about this team. Now, we obviously won't be facing Myles Garrett this year, but we will be facing Jared Verse.
Yes.
And now we got A.J. Brown in our division, which...
Let's talk about that. Let's get into that because the
that
blockbuster trade. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay, so here's my thing, okay? And then you tell me if it really, I'm not going to – there are some people that, like, division rivals will make moves who are just like, that sucks. They're terrible. Like, we just try to downplay it. I'm going to shoot you straight. A.J. Brown's an awesome receiver. Yeah, and I'm not the first one to say this. Yeah, breaking news. Yeah, A.J. Brown, good at football. But he's a bit of a basket case. Maybe he can be the Trojan horse that you push that into New England and it blows it up from the inside. That's the only thing I can hope for, because if not, A.J. Brown is a spectacular receiver. A guy I really respect is Taylor Kyles. He covers the New England Patriots. We've become friends. And he just said on his podcast, I think it was yesterday or this morning, that he believes the Patriots have the best wide receiving core in the NFL. With A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs. He said, we already have the deepest room in the NFL. Now we have the best, getting a true alpha wide receiver. So I saw him saying that this morning. So New England people are pretty fired up. But that's what I'm hoping, that it's a Trojan horse. It gets pushed into the New England camp, and they implode from the inside. There's like landmines and TNT tied all around it, and it destroys them. Because I think A.J. Brown is awesome. He's a 1,400-yard receiver. I mean, he is very good. He had physical and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, he started the year with like 6 games in a row over 120 yards. And I've said it for a long time. I think that A.J. Brown is a top 3 wide receiver in this league, up there with J.J. and Chase. I know some people are going to go, he's not that good. You know what? I encourage you to look up the video. And I forget the exact wording. It's like why A.J. Brown will be awesome in Philly, or great in Philly, or something to that effect, when he was leaving Tennessee going to Philly. And you watch the video, and the guy will lay out all the stats for you. Second in the league behind only Cooper Kupp during his historic year. The following year, second only to Devontae Adams, and they go on and on and on. And a lot of times you hear, this guy, he's like a running back with the ball in his hands. This guy, he really is like a running back with the ball in his hands. He's built a little bit different, hard to take down. He's a really, really good receiver. And it's weird, man. Like the way things turned out in Philly when he first got there. Jalen Hurts is my best friend, and it is all lovey-dovey, and it was just great. And then all of a sudden, it's not, because he's not getting the ball. Holy shit! Shades of Elijah Moore. Just give me the damn ball. But crazy to see how things worked out there, and. But I said this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, you know what? This could end up being one of the best things that happens for the Jets, because, you got one head case out of your building with, Stephon Diggs, but then you bring in A.J. Brown, and, A.J. Brown, it's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. Like, great player, is great when everything's going good, but when things don't go so good, all of a sudden it's a whole different ball game. And you know what? Patriots start out, 2-4 or something, and AJ starts talking. Like, it could. I could see him blowing that locker room up, and especially with a lot of younger, impressionable players in there. And I was actually going to talk about this later with Matt. Matt O'Leary's coming on the show tonight.
What show is that again, Rickie?
Rickie New York live at 8
On
p.m.
YouTube. Okay. Right.
Yes. And so yeah, that could turn out to be good for us. I could see him, blowing things up if things don't go well there, and I can see them taking a step back. But it's funny that like Mike Vrabel, he's trading for AJ Brown and trying to kind of relive those glory days. Hey, the last time I was really winning a bunch of games as a head coach, we had AJ Brown and well, I mean, they went to the Super Bowl last year, but let's be honest, they kind of backed their way in. If it wasn't for CJ Stroud and a severely injured Chargers team and the people
Denver.
they faced along that stretch,
yeah,
like they weren't as good as people made them out to be. And I think they take a little bit of a step back this year. And
I may regret this here, Rickie, but I just don't think AJ, and I don't know if this will sound crazy or not. I just don't think AJ Brown is Randy Moss. Like Randy Moss arrived on the Patriots and broke the single season receiving touchdown record with 23 touchdowns and the undefeated Patriots, and they were just unstoppable. And AJ Brown is awesome. I'm not trying to downplay how good he is. He's really good. I just don't see that kind of crazy ass historic impact. Like he's good.
No.
And Drake May was a not borderline. I mean, he nearly won the MVP last year. Thankfully, Stafford won it. Screw the Patriots. But, I just don't see the Randy Moss-like impact happening.
No, and listen, man, Randy Moss is probably one of my if not my very favorite, definitely up there among receivers all time.
Marshall.
Hated having to watch him, as a Patriot, but dude, like, back in the Moss and Culpepper, like Viking days or something, like, dude, Randy Moss was just flat out unstoppable.
98, Chris Carter.
He would go out there and torch your ass, and then he would tell you about it. I love that clip where he goes and sits on the bench and he turns around to the reporters and like, I told you and I told you, touchdown. Like, and it's, dude, he was awesome. He was awesome. And shout out Randy Moss. Started his career at Florida State, got in trouble, never played a single game for us, and ended up going on to Marshall and playing with Chad Pennington. And he got 20 touchdowns from Pennington his final year in college. I always kind of hoped those two guys would reunite in the NFL, and it just wasn't to be. But yeah, I don't see AJ Brown having that kind of an impact. But it's funny. Like I said, Vrabel. Oh, I want to bring back AJ Brown. You got Robert Saleh. I want to bring in JFM and Jermaine and like all these guys. It seem like they're kind of like trying to relive their past, whereas we're doing something new. We're not repeating history. We're moving in a new direction, and I like that. I like that fact. But something occurred to me, like, as much as it's cool seeing all the new young pieces being brought in, at some point, if this thing is going to succeed, I think that continuity has to be part of the formula. Like, change is cool, but continuity is important, like especially offensive line, yes. But we've had so much turnover, and quarterbacks having to learn new receivers every year, receivers having to learn new quarterbacks every year, new coordinators every year, new coaches, a new system. Like, there's been too much turnover. If we can get this thing turned around, we need to stay the course for a while, and not start sweating and blow everything up every time a few bad back page stories come out.
Oh man, Rickie, the things that can happen during this show. Let me see. Oh my God, I'm gonna see if I can switch this over. Someone just sent something into the show, Rickie, that I'm not quite sure how to put into words, but we'll see if we can get to that. We also need to get to the phone lines too, and things of that nature. But oh my God, Rickie, how long have you been? How long have you had your YouTube channel now?
Less than a year. So,
Okay. When's your anniversary?
that would be, geez, I want to say the very beginning of September.
Okay. All right. So, it's okay. So we started around the same time in terms of months. So, like mine was right before we're in September of the 2020 season. So, we'll have that coming up. But no, okay, good. I'm glad. Well, and again, give another plug first, Rickie, before we go down this very weird rabbit hole that's about to happen. Rickie,
Okay. You have me curious now.
well, it'll be interesting. That's all I can say,
That
for sure.
everybody listen, that would be Rickie New York Live right here on YouTube. You can also find me on X. And yeah, that's because I have an alternating week schedule at work at my normal job. It's every other week. So it's every other Saturday, every other Tuesday, every other Thursday. And that's where you can find me.
All right, beautiful. Well, it just threw me off because someone just emailed me something with no real explanation of whatever it was, and it was just an unidentified audio clip. And I don't just normally play just random audio clips on the show without having heard it first, just in case. So I wanted to listen to it real quick, and then it sort of threw me off. So I was just sent this. Thank you, Jets Worldwide, for clipping that during the show that apparently I gave in the. Let me hit that one more time. That's
Now, is that Snowball actually making that noise, or did he clip
that?
that?
Apparently was me making that noise that he clipped from the show. I believe that is. Jets Worldwide can clarify that in a second, but this. I don't know what I'm ever going to do with that sound effect ever again, but thank you for that. Who knows whenever that could pop up. Good Lord have mercy.
I was expecting another voodoo chant or something. I was not expecting that sound effect.
I was not either, which again totally threw me off. Which, by the way, let's give a couple of plugs here for all the raffle tickets, and thank you everyone for donating so far this month. Whether it was Austrian Jet Fan with a membership, Jake Asman with a super chat, Mac Bahar Khalil for a super chat, Hear Me Out with a super chat, and Spin Max Dave requesting the voodoo action. All of those raffle tickets are going towards this month's raffle prizes, which are here in front of you. I had the great pleasure of being in Pittsburgh for the draft. It's gonna go down as one of the coolest experiences of my entire life. And I came back with a few items, which are really cool. For our audio only listeners, I'll try to describe it for you. We have a New York Jets canvas. I wish I was good with sizes, but it's probably, I don't have it near me, but it's like a 1.5 by 1.5 feet, something like that. It's got a Jets logo painted on in the middle. It's got a bunch of NFL footballs that have the NFL draft logo on it, 2026 NFL draft. I received this gift from the New York Jets, and a maximum of 11 people have this gift. I don't know how many of them they made, but if you were in the pit, it was a gift the Jets gave you for being in the pit. They gave you a little gift bag. And that was in there from Pittsburgh for the draft. Again, I would have got it autographed by David Bailey, but they instructed us that after whoever gets drafted, they're going to come over to you and take a selfie. And I went, oh, that's cool, but don't ask for autographs. That's against our rules. We're not letting that happen. We're like, okay. Because at first we got these, went, oh, what are we going to do with this? And someone said, oh, man, whoever's the number 2 overall pick can come and sign it. I said, wow, that'd be cool. The first thing they sign coming off the stage would be our little things, but it was against the rules, so we couldn't. So unfortunately, there's no David. You're just going to have to envision that it's on there somewhere. So no David Bailey autograph, but this cool canvas from the draft that you can hang up in your house. I would hang it up in my house. It's amazing. And the other item I got from the draft is they gave us rally towels when we were in the pit in the first round, and it had this phrase, the pick is in all caps written on it with the NFL draft logo. And we're spinning it above our heads as we're rooting for this pick or that pick or any of the picks. So for this month's raffle, we're giving you the rally towel from the draft, that canvas I got from the New York Jets, which is beautiful from there in Pittsburgh. And Also, 2 tickets to the Gangrene Beach Club. That's the Saturday, July 11th event at Atlantic City. HQ2 Beach Club. Here are all the details for that. I'm giving you and a friend. If you win this month's raffle, we'll give it away officially on July 1st. If you spend $3 on the channel, you're in the running for all of those items. Again, we're giving it away on July 1st. It's at the HQ2 Beach Club, Atlantic City, the Ocean Casino Resort. It's Saturday, July 11th. Doors open at 12. Doors close at 6. 21 and over. No jeans. It's a beach club event. Wear green and white. Feel free to wear tank tops or shorts or anything of that nature that fits a beach club atmosphere. Closed shoes, though, because of the danger of broken glass or anything that could happen. So you can't wear flip-flops either. So no jeans and no like flip-flops or open-toed shoes are allowed either. But everything else is all fair game there. And again, I'm giving away 2 tickets. So you and a friend can go. I'm going to be there. Hep's going to be there. Snowball's going to be there. A bunch of your favorite Jets content creators and media members are going to be there. So again, if you want to go to this event, you have a chance to get those tickets for free, relatively free. All you have to do is buy a $3 raffle ticket. You have a chance for it. The tickets are $25 a pop. If you want to buy a ticket yourself and just guarantee you're going, go to gangrenebeachclub.com, $25 tickets. Or for more information, if you have questions about anything, gangrenebeachclub.com has all the details. So those are the awesome items, a few exclusive items, and a pair of tickets to Gangrene Beach Club coming up on Saturday, July 11th. I hope a bunch of you guys get to go there. I'd love to meet a bunch of you. And that's going to be our basically pre-party before training camp, which is going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wish that I could go to that thing. Unfortunately, I have a prior obligation that weekend and cannot make it, but I would love to go to that. And guys, those are some awesome prizes. If I was you, I would start gifting them memberships and get in on that. Hey, I like the rally towels. One of the very few times that I've ever been to MetLife, because I'm not in New York, I'm in Florida. Was in 2012, opening day. We whooped the Buffalo Bills, and everybody got the Curtis Martin rally towel that day because Curtis Martin was there and they were retiring his number. And I have that hanging up on my door right now. So I'm a big rally towel fan. But, dude, that canvas from the draft, I mean, think about that. You had to get that from the draft, and only 11 people on the entire planet have that. Yeah, that is a kick-ass prize. Hell, I gifted some memberships this week so I can get in on that because that would be cool to have. So definitely some awesome prizes there for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to be selfish. I'm going to be honest. That was my first decision. When I came back from the draft, I had pictures of meeting people like Curtis Martin or Rich Eisen and gifts. The Jets gave us many gifts, which are great. And I was like, sweet, I got all these things to hog to myself. And I'm like, come on, Paul, you selfish bastard. You should give some of it back in the universe. So when I was thinking about what to give away, I said, I want to definitely do some draft exclusive items. And I said, you know what? These things are pretty cool. So those were the ones that are the choices. So we have another gift from the Jets Worldwide team. Why not in video form? Wow.
Okay.
There it is. The moments in history that bring all of us together. That is beautiful. Wow, Rickie. I mean, I can't believe we got 90 minutes here. This has been phenomenal. Do you have any time for some fans to open up the phone lines?
Absolutely. I always got time for the fans. And you mentioned it earlier. And for that matter, it extends beyond just me and you. I don't think there's any YouTube content creator that was doing a show back during the Rex AFC Championship years. Really? I'll have to check my facts on that. Yeah. But, when I first started watching Jake's show, it was right before we got Adam Gase. And I remember the meltdown when we made that hire. And but dude, this fan base is so awesome. And look at the community we've built when we're not making the postseason. Right. Like, can you imagine what these shows are going to be like if we go on deep playoff runs? Like, it's going to be great. Like, I can't wait. I'm not going to jinx anything or get ahead of myself, but man, like when we get some good competitive Jets football, this thing is going to blow up, and I can't wait.
Before we get to the phone line, Joe Holmes says this: Rickie, New York story, Curtis Martin at the Hall of Fame, which he's told is primo. BG2 at the draft. These two cats have horseshoes on them. Yeah, I feel like I have a horseshoe up my ass, or a four-leaf clover shoved up some orifice, because the things, again, to just go to. I've never been to the draft in general. I've always wanted to. It was on my bucket list to go as a fan at some point, and to go into the draft and have that crazy experience because of Lou B. Shout out to Lou B. being in the pit, meeting Curtis Martin, and then me being on day 3. I decided to stay an extra day. Johnny Boy and Lou B were there for day 1 and day 2, and then they had to go back home. And I was like, and I'm weighing, like, do I stay? Do I go? I could do more work if I was in a location, because, like, I didn't get approved for media credentials, so I couldn't, like, write while I was at the draft, which, so I'd be doing work or podcast clips or something. I got to do some stuff off my phone, but, like, in theory, I could get more work done if I were somewhere else. And I'm like, should I stay? Should I go? I'm like, you know what, Paul? Who knows when you're going to be at a draft again? Just stay for day 3, and just things are just going to happen. And I had the crazy Avery Williamson story where I ran into him. And then just in the middle of the draft, I just started walking. There's this open landscape, a lot of space to just walk around. If you're not inside the little theater area, like, you could walk up to the gate and then that's it. And then you could just sort of peruse. There's food, drinks, and everything. And I went over to where the TV people are, like NFL Network and ESPN, and they're doing their coverage of the draft. And the NFL Network people of Rich Eisen, Daniel Jeremiah, Charles Davis, those guys were in, like, sort of this glass booth that was elevated probably 10 feet off the ground or something. And then you could just sort of walk up and, like, if they're on a break and they took out a headpiece, they could wave to you or something. So I don't know why I decided at that moment in time to walk over there. Because, like, what was going to happen? Were they going to jump out of the booth or something? So I have no idea why I even walked over there. But, like, I just said, because I could have been closer to the draft and hearing the picks being called and all kinds of things. But the Jets had a big gap between picks. Like, they had made picks and they weren't picking for, like, another 100 picks or something. So I just started walking around. And I went over to the NFL Network booth, and I see, like, they're having lunch or something. Clearly, they're doing they must have some pre-prepared interviews or something, because all of them take off their headsets and they're just eating sandwiches and stuff. And then out of nowhere, I just see Rich leave the booth, like, and it's protected, so you can't see, like when they walk out behind this booth, it's all covered stuff, so they have their own private area to call their family or do whatever the hell they want to do. And he came around the bend, and I went, holy shit, Rich Eisen's coming out to just hang out with the people. That's cool, in this area. And it's not like we had hundreds of people that were there, because, again, why would you just be randomly standing by this thing in the middle of the draft? So there's probably 25 people or something. And Rich met all of them, handshakes, pictures, anything they wanted. I got to get a picture with them. And then I just pulled aside to the side. Like, I got, because, like, there was a line behind me, so I didn't want to hold him up. So I just said, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Picture real quick. And I pulled off to the side and said, hey, if he has time, like, after he finishes with the people, is heading back to the booth, maybe he'll stop and talk to me for a second. And he finished, and he saw that I was waiting. So he walked over to me after everyone had walked away. And we just had a conversation. I got to tell him how meaningful he was to my career. And I love this friggin' show, and told him all these crazy things that have happened on his show's history and things I always wanted to tell him. And, that experience almost didn't happen because I was so in my own head about, like, God, day 3, what am I going to do by myself? I don't have anybody with me. I'm all alone. And it just goes to show you should just do, like, you know what? Take chances. Just do things. Like, because, again, I was getting super insecure because I spent another night at an Airbnb by myself. It's expensive. I got kids. I don't have money to just light on fire and do things with. So I was getting super insecure as I was walking to the draft from this Airbnb. And I'm like, God, why did I do this? You're such an idiot, Paul. Damn it. You're a moron. Why you do it? You're wasting your money. You can't even write if you're over here. Like, what are you? You're an idiot. And then, like I said, all these things happened of Avery Williamson, the Rich Eisen thing, and then just Jets draft things. I got some gifts for my kids. So all this wonderful stuff happened. Again, everything in life happens for a reason. Sometimes if you don't see the vision initially, it all happens. So, oh, yeah, I've got a horseshoe shoved up somewhere. And I love that Curtis Martin story every time you tell it, Rickie, because we're lucky sons of a guns out there.
Yeah, well, you are absolutely a class act and a better man than me for not wanting to hold the line up. Me, for those who have heard my Curtis Martin story, no, I bribed the guy in line with me to hold up the line behind me so I could have a chance.
Smart.
To talk to Curtis. And he did a marvelous job. And that whole conversation, there was a security guard, like, standing right behind Curtis, and he was kind of looking like, shit, what do I do? Like I need to move this thing along. the player is actually talking to this guy, and like I could see him getting kind of antsy back there, and I was like, oh, he's going to pull the plug on us any minute. But like, fortunately, it kept going and kept going, and probably turned into like probably a little over a 15-minute conversation, which I did not expect at all. But finally at one point when like he stopped talking and I was about to respond, like the guy saw his opportunity and he stepped in and was like, okay guys, we got to move it along. And but it was phenomenal. Like probably one of the highlights of my entire life was that meeting. So very fortunate.
That's pretty special. So you said you got a guy to distract the rest of the group, so like you could have a little extra time with Curtis. Did he do this?
No, he did not do that.
Okay.
As we were getting ready to go in, there were these people that showed up, and I mean, Paul, it was crazy. They had like these huge bags full of like 50 mini helmets that they thought they were going to get autographed and then probably resell. And as we're lining up, they're like 2 autographs per person. And all these people that spent shitloads of money on all these mini helmets were furious. But it's like, dude, really? You got 500 people lined up to get in this building, and you're going to take all that time getting every one of those things signed? Are you serious? But the guy next to me, he was a Steelers fan, and there were like 5 Steelers going in that particular weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, man, listen, I'll make you a deal. I'll get you, 2 extra autographs from each of these Steelers guys if you can just go behind me and hold up the line as long as you possibly can. And so he was like, oh, yeah, deal. And, dude, when I went through the line, I would, like, hand the 2 pictures to the Steelers guy. They would sign it, and I'd be like, thanks. Right on to the next guy. Like, didn't talk to him or anything. I moved through real quick.
So you could have your time with Curtis.
Yeah. And got down to Curtis, and, like, me and him started talking. I looked over. Steelers dude is still at the very first guy in the line, and we talked for a few minutes, and I look over. Oh, he's only at the 3rd guy in the line, and Curtis was second to last. Cortez Kennedy was the only guy after him. And but yeah, we ended up having this really cool, very, very surreal conversation that had nothing to do with football and is not at all what I expected. But for those of you who've never met Curtis Martin, what an engaging, like just awesome human being, man. Like I've always thought he was the classiest guy that I've ever watched, and even better person than he is a football player. And yeah, just amazing. That is a memory I'll cherish forever.
Yeah, and I'll say this again. I got to meet Curtis at the draft. I got to take 2 pictures with him. I got this picture when he came a second time that surprised me. I'm like, "Whoa, he's back again!" I'm like, "All right, well, all right." If Curtis is swinging back through, he swung through the first time. We got this awesome picture from the Jets where they took a picture of us all together. I'm right there on Curtis Martin's left, and it was very nice. And I've been trying to think of like. What's the best way to describe my interaction with Curtis? Well, we had this one-on-one opportunity at the draft, and this is probably going to sound weird, but so Michael Clemens, Indy's guy, like when Michael Clemens gets asked a question, he doesn't answer immediately. You ask a question, you make eye contact, and something's cooking up there. He marinates on whatever he's about to say for a second, and it's like an uncomfortable second or 2. Like normally, Rickie, I'm asking you a question. Hey, Rickie, what do you think about this? And then you immediately start talking. Like, and someone asks me a question, I immediately start talking. When Michael Clemens is asked a question, he doesn't immediately start talking. He just sits there, and goes, and then he answers like he's thinking about whatever. So like Curtis, like I asked him, hey, Mr. Martin, or whatever I said to him, like respectfully, I just said, hey, Curtis, and they stopped what he was doing. And he turned around and just looked me dead in the eyes. And I said, hey, can you sign this? And he went, he didn't just say yes. So at first I'm like, ooh, did I say something wrong? Did I like throw him off a little for a second? And he went, Of course. And he grabs it. And like I said, he just took all the time in the world to make the most beautiful autograph of all time. And he took, like, it felt like 30 seconds. I don't know how long it actually took, but he just, like, he was holding the hat in such a way. He didn't just scribble it and say, here you go, kid. He just, like, the way that he did it, he just put so much thought into it and everything. And I ended up giving that hat to Johnny Boy, because Johnny Boy couldn't be with us up in the pit, and he loves Curtis Martin. I wanted to keep that too. I wanted that memory, but I have all these pictures and stuff and the story to tell, so I feel like that's worth it for everybody. But I wanted to keep that hat for sure. So if Johnny Boy gave any hesitation, like I go to give him the hat, he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Nope." Whoop! I would have taken it back, but I didn't. I didn't. But yeah, he was just so meticulous. And again, man, just a super amazing guy. And yes, it's exactly as Rickie said. If you never had the chance to meet him, oh my goodness. He just takes time with everybody. It's genuine interaction. It's not herding sheep. He's not just like, yeah, move on, next person. He's just very, I don't know, down to earth, whatever that word is. There's just a quality you can't quite put into words.
Genuine is a very good word to describe that. Even like me, going in, I had this plan. Oh, I'm going to meet Curtis. This is what I'm going to say to him. And I met him, and I'm like, hey, you always said you wanted to use football as a vehicle to kind of help people. And I just wanted to let you know I'm one of those people that your words have helped over the years. And to me, that was like mission accomplished. I did what I came here to do.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be the end of it. And he like looks up at me and he was like, what were you going through in your life that you felt you needed my help? And then he's like sitting there waiting for a response. And he's like looking up at me like he's really concerned, like interested in what I have to say. And for once in my life, I was actually speechless. Like I didn't know what the hell to say at that point because it was so completely unexpected. And I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but man, just sitting there and having him look up at me like with that look of like I actually care. Like it just floored me, man. It was amazing.
And I'm sure you already know this, Rickie, but that interaction is incredibly rare. I've had the great opportunity being in my field of radio and digital, whatever. I've met some really cool people. And there have been moments where, whether it's a fan situation or media situation, more so fan situation, where you're like getting a brief second interact with somebody and you get 3 seconds and you could, right, like do you, Rickie, where you pour your heart out and say, hey, man, you really helped me in that situation. And that person in 99% of scenarios goes, yeah, thanks, bud. Slaps you on the back.
Yep.
Move on. No thing. And I'm going to be honest, in most situations that I'm in that you just described, I try to be genuine myself, but I don't anticipate a genuine answer. And it's not a rude thing to them. They are moving through a lot of people. I didn't expect anything back. So that happens a lot of the times whenever I've gotten a chance to meet a celebrity. Like, I could tell this really cool thing. And it's almost like they weren't listening. They're like, yeah, man. And I'm like, okay. And but I got to say my piece. That's it. I didn't expect more, but that's just what happened. So the fact that Curtis did have this thing with you, I know you know this, but that is rare and special.
Oh, yeah.
And really cool.
Yeah, 90% of the time it's kind of like what you said, where it's just like, yeah, thanks, and move along. On rare occasions I get an actual, interaction, like back in, oh God, I don't know. It was probably like was it 2016? I don't know. It was in the mid 20 teens somewhere. We were in South Florida and we like pulled over someplace to get something to eat. And David Clowney walked into where we were. And I actually got to meet him for a minute, hang out with him. That's one of the reasons I have a David Clowney jersey. He was super cool. But then there's other times like, at the Hard Rock Casino, I'm like walking and, oh shit, here comes Michael Irvin. Like, hey man, good to meet you. And like, he looks at his security guys and he's like, get him away from me. And like, not even a friggin' hello. So it can definitely go the other way too. But I think when you get the people that actually take a few minutes to spend time with you, it just makes it all that more special.
Definitely. There's no question about it. So I see a few moments in here. Craig Mechanic says, having my own business, I find I lose out on a lot of opportunities to do things. That's why I'm going with you guys to the tailgate, which again, week 5, New York Jets, Cleveland Browns. It's going to be amazing. Thank you for bringing it up, Craig. Can't wait to meet you and so many others. That'll be, again, Sunday, October 11th for week 5, Jets, Browns. If you guys want tickets to come sit with us for the game or to be at our tailgate with Chef Kevin Gilbert, please reach out to my email, paulasdenjr@gmail.com. We also have an Excel sheet sign up you could do down below as well, but also email me and show your interest because cutoff date is coming up on June 10th. That's when the Jets want the money by. So please reach out ASAP if you're interested in going. A lot of people have already paid, which I appreciate. So, yeah, if you guys want to come, that's going to be great. So thank you, Craig. And I will be going to the Jets-Packers home opener week 2. I didn't initially wasn't going to go, but JR327 invited me, and he has his 10-year-old son. He says, bring that horseshoe that we're talking about up our ass to the Green Bay Packers game. I'd love to take out the Packers at the knees. I go back to that game in 2010. It was a regular season game. The Jets played the Packers at MetLife Stadium, and they lost 9-0 to Aaron Rodgers. And I was super pissed off because the NFL had the simultaneous catch rule that they blew twice in that game, which resulted in plays that should have gone to the Jets offense. They ended up being interceptions, so that pissed me off. And I said, that's not how the rules work. And that still makes me angry to this day. So I'd like to get revenge for that random 2009 regular season game if I could. So I appreciate that, JR327, and I'm glad that you're bringing me to the game, and Mahar Khalil is bringing me to the Titans game. I mean, this is incredible. It's amazing. So I'm so fired up for all of this. So I know we talked about it a few minutes ago, Rickie, but let's do it, baby. Let's play a quick hep timeout, and we'll welcome your phone calls. It is the Boy Green and Rickie show here on Boy Green Daily. It's phenomenal. It's spectacular, and more of it comes up next.
1, 2, 3.
That is scenes from our tailgate experience last year that we're bringing back, baby. We'll be partying in the parking lot with professional Chef Kevin Gilbert with catered food. We have tickets that are being sold for that as well. If you'd prefer to only be at the tailgate, that'll be available for that Jets-Browns game. Lou B and the B Sprinter will be there rocking some music and a DJ. That's going to be awesome. So we're going to have food. We're going to have great vibes. We're going to have parties. We're going to have drinks and food available for all you guys. And then for everyone who wants to, we'll be sitting all together in the 100 section for the New York Jets Cleveland Browns game, which now will no longer include Myles Garrett. We never got into the franchise trade stuff beyond from the Myles Garrett perspective. We'll get into some of that, I'm sure, during some of the phone calls. Let's hit it up. The phone lines are up, and that's youtube.com/boygreen25. If you guys would like to call into the show, now is the time to do so. We'll kick it off with our favorite caller, Carl, baby. He's back.
Hey, how you doing, Rickie, New York? I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you.
Hey, how's it going, Carl?
Yeah.
I am also a guy with a Jets tattoo, so yes, good to meet you.
Anyway, yesterday your show you were talking about Jelani Woods.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Last year I was on the Jelani Woods boat, man, and I was saying somebody has to watch this kid's film. Mm-hmm. I knew the kid had talent, and I'm just thinking to myself, if we would have gave Jelani Woods a chance to play last year, we probably don't give Ruckert an extension, because now I don't know if there's room for this kid. What do you think?
That's a good point. And, to use one of Boy Green's terms that he likes to use, there's a lot of connective tissue there. Frank Reich was instrumental in drafting Jelani Woods when he was in Indianapolis. And so there's a history there with the two of them. And as much as the Sadiq thing is kind of a bummer for all the people that were psyched about us drafting him, opportunity knocks. And it sounds like Jelani is taking advantage of that opportunity. And hey, man, you can't have too many weapons. So I'm curious to see how that whole thing shakes out. And, do we carry him as an extra tight end? It's possible. We'll see. We'll see if he can continue to make noise and what this develops into. But that's definitely an interesting one that I'm keeping an eye on.
Okay. Yeah, and another thing you guys were talking about, meeting players. Years ago, when I was a young guy and I lived in New York, I used to go to a lot of events that took place in smaller venues, and we had like the Jets would play the Giants at charity basketball games, and the players then were so accessible. I mean, it wasn't like meeting a celebrity where they were surrounded with, security and things like that. It was just a bunch of guys. And I remember one specific basketball game I went to. My son was probably about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. And we went to a basketball game, and he really loved Bruce Harper. So he made some sort of a drawing or a card, and we were sitting in the stands, and Bruce Harper was playing, of course, but he was sitting in the bleachers down, it was a high school gymnasium, and he was with, I don't know if it was his girlfriend or his wife, and my son went down and gave him this card. And Bruce Harper, being the good guy that he was, at when the basketball game was over, he put my son on his shoulders and carried him around. And awesome. Not only did he do that, but the players sat at a folding table after the game and just sign autographs. And he gave my son this autograph, which says, "To Danny, best of luck, Bruce Harper." And then I just wanted to show you how accessible all these players were. I don't know if you can see all these autographs.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Wesley Walker, Greg Buttle, Mike McKibben, Randy Rasmussen. These are guys. Yeah, these are guys that were just standing around, and you could just go up to them, and they'd have a little pad with them, and they'd write an autograph, and it was a pretty cool thing. But I don't know if you can do that anymore. And the other thing is, when I used to live in Florida, I used to know Marty Lyon's mother-in-law. She used to work in a bar that I used to hang out in, and she just was a really cool lady. And she introduced us. One day, my friend Jerry and I were in the bar watching a Jet game, and she said, "Hey, you want to meet Marty Lyons?" I said, "Yeah, I would love to meet Marty Lyons." He's sitting over there at the table with his wife, and they had a baby. So we went over to the table, and Marty Lyons, we sat down. He invited us to sit down at the table with him and his wife. We were doing shots of wild turkey.
Sure,
it was, yeah, and they were. It just seemed like a different era. You know what I mean? Players were they just seemed to be more accessible. That's all.
Yeah.
And then I've met players at venues now where, I think I told you the story where I used to live near where Quentin Copels grew up, and I used to go to his summer camp, and the first year I went there, you could go up to him and you could hang out with him. And then the next year, he had a posse around him with like security guys, like, oh, he's not going to sign that for you. It started to kind of change like that. You know what I mean? Because people were like Rickie said before, 50 helmets. They want them all signed and they put them up for sale.
100%.
Yeah, they know what's going on, and I think that kind of ruined it for everybody. But I'm looking forward to the tailgate. It's getting closer.
Let's go.
And I've been thinking about, I'm going to bring some stuff with me because I've got a ton of Jet shit, and this just stuff I don't need anymore. And I'm just going to bring some stuff to the tailgate and figure out a way to give it away.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you this, Carl. If you do choose to do that, what I will, and I assume that you'll be in for this, so you'll let me know with your travel schedule. So we're doing the game, obviously, Sunday, October 11th. The night before, Saturday, October 10th, I've already booked a private room at Chef Kevin Gilbert's restaurant, the Cloverleaf Tavern. And last year, I brought a bunch of Jet stuff in the same way that I've got some cool either autographs or photos or stuff. So I've got some more stuff left. I'm going to give away some stuff at that restaurant that night before to all the patrons and give people a chance to win some stuff and do some fun stuff for the fans. So if you choose to do that and you are going to be in town the night before, I would suggest bring some of it to there and you could give out some to some awesome coffee club members.
Yeah, I'm not sure, where is Chef Kev's club restaurant?
Yeah, Caldwell, New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, like I said, my travel schedule, where I'm going to stay. Yeah. I'm down in Virginia now, and I don't know if anybody has to go through Virginia or whatever, but, I'd be willing to, ride with somebody, give them a ride, or, when we get closer, I guess we can figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
But one more thing real quick I wanted to just show you before I go. I know you got other people waiting. Years ago, my brother gave me something really cool.
Yeah.
Remember the A&P, the shopping store A&P?
Yeah.
Well, they used to give away Jet stuff. So I got this. This is a placemat.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It's got Matt Ryan, Bruce Harper, Scott Durking, and Wesley Walker. And unfortunately, I was only able to get one.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of cool stuff back then, and gas stations used to give away Jet glasses, and you just don't see that anymore. It was just a different era. But anyway, I'll let you guys go. Rickie, it was nice talking to you, and one of these days when I get some time, I'm going to get on there and listen to Rickie New York.
There you go. Beautiful.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it, Carl. Thank you.
Yes, he's going to be at the tailgate, which is awesome and great. And yes, I'm sure there will be a few people traveling up. So, folks, if that saves you money, feel free to carpool up with a couple other Jet fans if you're coming to this event, Week 5 or Jets Browns. I know another guy who lives in Virginia, Johnny Boy.
Yo, Rickie.
What up, man?
BG. Hey, man, I have to say, the tandem of you guys together, I've been missing it, man. It was awesome listening to both of you guys. I've been on my drive to my office up in Richmond today, and it's made my time go by like that quick, man. I'm almost there.
That's awesome. Thank you for saying that.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the transactions that have occurred and how it feels like it's definitely benefiting us, right? So Green Bay, Parsons might not play, right? And Parsons was the huge disruptor for when we played him last time, right?
He likely won't, is my guess, based on all the information we have right now. He's likely going to be on the PUP list, yeah.
So that's a good thing for us. And then Myles Garrett is gone. And I'm just like, damn, we're going to be at this game, Week 5, October 11th, watching us play the Browns. And there's a big possibility, too, that we might win. So I'm looking at the games. I think Tennessee, we're going to win.
Yeah.
Now with this injury that's occurring, so maybe Green Bay, potentially. I mean, he's still Jordan Love, right? Week 3, maybe. So I don't know, man. I mean, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Like, am I tripping? At least the Jets are finally not getting old ass wide receivers from back in the day and bringing them over here, aka Odell Beckham and Braxton Berrios going over to the Giants.
And Juju Smith-Schuster, he also signed yesterday. I will tell you this real quick. I've never seen a workout before where like you bring in like 3 guys and you sign them all. Like normally, like, hey, compete against each other. All right, we're grabbing one of you from the group. The fact that they had a buy one get 2 free deal, I'm like, whoa, okay, whatever. That works for me, I guess. I will say the only person happier more than the Rams who received Myles Garrett is James Woody, who like before we did this, the schedule didn't come out yet. I was talking to Woody behind the scenes, like, hey, what game do you want? Here are the possible home opponents. There's a chance for an international game here or there that could take one of these away. But which of these games do you prefer, these opponents? And he said, and this before the schedule came out, my number one is I want the Cleveland Browns. I'm like, the Browns? I don't have anything against the Browns, but why? He was like, because we can kick their ass. And I'm like, all right. Okay, if that's okay, all right. Then the schedule came out. He's like, Browns, week 5. That's got to be the game. I'm like, I don't know. Let's talk to everybody. I'll check with my pops. Got to see what his schedule is. Can he make it? I want him to be there. Johnny Boy Snowball, like anniversaries, these dates. Can they make it to these games? Oh, of course, Lou B, Chef Kevin Gilbert. There's a lot of people I got to make sure can go because without them, the machine does not go. And it all worked out where the Browns game was the one that worked out for everybody. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. All right, Woody, here you go. And Woody yesterday was losing it. Yes, Myles Garrett is gone. He can't ravage our offensive tackles. And no disrespect to Jared Verse, who's really good, but he's not Myles Garrett. So that's a net benefit for us, certainly. Yeah, him being there. There's no question. Him not being there, rather, is great news for Jets fans. Yes.
Rickie?
Yeah, I agree. And what you were saying about that Packers game, like their backup quarterback is gone. Now they've got Tyrod, but Romeo Doubs is gone. Rashawn Gary is gone. They lost. Quay Walker is gone. They lost a lot of pieces.
Josh Jacobs might not be playing.
Yeah, he really might not be. I wasn't even going to mention that one, but yeah, he looks to be in some serious trouble. Yeah, man. So like that Packers team, like I'm looking at that as that could be a sneaky win for us. And I've said all along, there's going to be a couple of teams that we're going to beat this upcoming year that people might not have thought we would beat at the onset, and that could very well be one of them.
100%. The last thing I wanted to ask you guys was, you guys were talking a little bit about the Cooper situation, right? And saying like kind of temper the expectations on him. But if he ends up to be wide receiver 3 for us, at least at this current moment, AD Mitchell takes that next step and is wide receiver 2. I mean, our wide receiving room looks pretty good. So, I'm trying not to get myself overly hyped up and excited, because at the end of the day, they were 3-14 last year. There's a lot of stuff that they got to prove and get better, but I feel like they are. I mean, the team on paper right now is looking pretty balanced, and I hope that you're going to see a bigger step in Aaron Glenn, because you feel it in the pressers. He understands what he did last year wasn't the way, so he's going his status, his style, et cetera, et cetera. So, but with that being said, man, hey, I love the fact that BG was air dicking when he was doing that whole voodoo thing. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Rickie from Staniki, go check it out. But yeah, BG, that was you air. Hey, shut that out, man. Later, guys. Hey, awesome show today.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny boy. I appreciate that. And always remember. Wow. Here we go. We have 500 people now in the room. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And that includes 100 of those 500 right now watching on YouTube. So, guys, like the video, hit subscribe. Also, show some love for my co-host on today's show, Rickie New York Live. He, as you can see right behind him on that backdrop, Rickie New York Live on YouTube. Go search it, support him. And if you're on Twitter, you guys can also follow him as well. He's tagged on our live show tweet. We'll be on for a little bit longer here on the show, including another phone call from Devin 04 Jets fan, who's going to be at that Jets-Browns game, baby.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good,
Swell.
man. How you doing?
I just want to come in here and talk about Klubnik real quick. I thought it was very interesting, your guys' take on him. Should the worst occur and he have to step in this season? One, I feel more confident than not that he can be capable to support this team. Now, I'm also in your guys' same boat with that's not going to stop us from drafting a quarterback next year. How high, say he does lead us on a Mark Sanchez magical run to the AFC title game, how high do you then take a quarterback? Does that relax the need a little bit in your eyes?
I would say, again, I guess we have to see the season for me to really be able to right, because we're talking about what that would look like. I'd have to see all the specs, and sometimes it's just a gut feeling, right, that you feel whether someone's the guy or not. And it's being in the moment and feeling, going, wow, this guy, it's something's here. It's not just a game. It was 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, 6 games. It was how the team responds to him and all those things. It would have to be an unbelievable thing for me to pass entirely, and I probably wouldn't. But to the specific nature of the question, I would say I would be, if the Jets, let's say somehow they had the first overall pick, like the Colts were terrible. We had the first overall pick, and Cade Klubnik did these wonderful things of stepping in. I would still probably take the quarterback first overall, let them battle it out, whoever that best quarterback is, because it sounds like someone's going to be worthy of that number 1 overall pick at quarterback in next year's class. Have them battle it out with Cade, and if Cade wins, it's just good for business because that rookie can sit if Cade is decent enough to keep playing and doing that sort of thing. So the rookie can sit a while. That's fine. And then eventually, if it reaches a point, then you can flip Cade. If that was the case and the rookie showed he was the real deal, then you can flip that. Or you could have them both coexist. Like, to me, I would not hesitate, like, because we're going to have 3 first-round picks. If it was first overall, 15th overall, and 20th overall, I would not hesitate an iota to pull the trigger at number 1 overall to take a quarterback if I felt like that number 1 overall pick was a clear-cut, obvious franchise quarterback based on the data I did pre-draft. Rickie?
You know, I'm still definitely taking a quarterback in the first round. Absolutely. Regardless of what may transpire this year. However, if he did lead us on some crazy run like that, who knows? It would depend where the picks fall, but let's say for the sake of argument, the picks are like 3, 9, and 16. I might actually gamble and roll the dice and do something Rickie New York crazy, taking a premier player that's not a quarterback at the top, like a Leonard Moore or a Dylan Stewart, who, insert what name you want there. And then if, all of a sudden it looks like, oh shit, quarterbacks are starting to come off the board, or then we could always use those 2 other ones to trade back up if need be. So it would, a lot of things factor into that, how the board is breaking, what intel or instinct Muji has as far as other teams' intentions. Because there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks next year. There's probably going to be more quarterbacks than there are quarterback-needy teams, which sounds crazy to say, but it may actually be true. And, I'm still taking a quarterback next year regardless and let the 2 of them battle it out. And, the way I look at it is, if Cade turns out to be really good, then we draft a quarterback. Well, we may end up having a really good quarterback and a really good backup, and that's not a bad place to be.
No, that's an absolutely excellent place to be. Now, on that same conversation, you brought up Mensa, formerly of Duke, now at Miami University. Other than him, are there any quarterbacks that have your eye specifically, Rickie? BG, I don't think you've had any chance to look at next year's quarterbacks yet, but you might have a early favorite, so to speak.
Yeah, so I'm in ACC country, so I saw plenty of Darian Mensah, who's a Rickie New York favorite, obviously covering and being around for Syracuse football. Obviously, Arch Manning speaks for himself. Dante Moore, because a lot of us thought he was going to come out in this draft, so I'm intimately familiar with Dante Moore. So Dante Moore, Arch Manning. Arch Manning started off the year not living up to the unbelievable hype people thrust upon him because of his last name and everything, but the way he ended the year, the era was very up, and you could see all the hype and hubbub. But again, to me, we need to see what this very important 2026 college football season is going to be before any proclamations of number one overall pick and all this other jazz. So again, he ended the year red hot, and you're like, ooh, intriguing. Now I need to see, can he carry that momentum from the end of this past season into 2026? And if he can, well, now we're off to the races here of talking top quarterback. So Dante Moore, Arch Manning, Darian Mensah is another one. Those are kind of the three that are most on my radar. Obviously, as a Notre Dame guy, CJ Carr, go Irish. So my boy, for obvious reasons. So he's in the conversation as well. But those are like the 4-pack, I guess, with room for interpretation, right? Fernando Mendoza, who had him on the bingo card, being a number one overall pick. We didn't. Joe Burrow, his year of going undefeated, national championship for LSU, him being thrust in there. So surprises happen and surprising falls happen, as we just saw with the 2026 NFL draft. People told me, Sellers, this guy, Klubnik. And he fell to the 4th round. So it's a part of a process. I don't really have an early favorite so far. It would be hilarious if a lot of people said Dante Moore passed on coming into the draft because he wanted to avoid the Jets. And if the Jets have the number one overall pick of the 2027 NFL draft, we could go, sucker, we still got you. So that would sort of be hilarious unless he goes back to school to Oregon to be a doctor or something. He would have no other choice but to come out for the Jets. So that would be very intriguing. But no, I don't really have an early favorite. But again, to have our position, there are 2 teams that have multiple first-round picks next year. The Jets with 3 and the Browns with 2. And the Browns pick is probably going to be 30 or 31. And no, sorry, Cleveland fans, I'm not saying you're going to the Super Bowl, but the Rams could. So I feel very good about the position the Jets are going to be in terms of getting that quarterback.
Yeah, I do too. And I would agree with Paul. Those are probably the big 3 for me. Lenora Sellers is a super intriguing prospect. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got the crazy running ability. However, he's shown some problems processing, holds the ball too long, takes a lot of really unnecessary sacks, which, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Justin, and that terrifies me. So can he put it all together and take another step and become this, and crazy prospect that everybody thought he was going to turn into? The other one that I would probably keep an eye on would be Jaden Mayava from USC. There were some intriguing things about his game. However, his 2 best receivers, Mekhi Lemon and the other kid, both got drafted. So, how is he going to do with a new cast around him? Can he take another step? So those are probably 2 dark horse guys that I'm still going to keep an eye on. But, I would say the 3 big ones for me would be, Manning, Moore, and Mensah, same as Paul.
Now, Paul knows this. I'm a very diehard Buckeye. If Jeremiah Smith is sitting there, Rickie, for the Jets to snag and bring onto the team, are you taking him?
Man, you know what? I would have to seriously consider it. All transparency, unless it's a quarterback needy team that's picking one, like say it's Arizona picking one, obviously they're going to take a quarterback. But if it turns out to be the Raiders or somebody else that's picking one, Smith will be gone. I don't think he even makes it to where we are. I I can actually see Jeremiah Smith being the number 1 overall pick if like I said, a team that doesn't hit up at the top. So, but yeah, I would seriously consider taking him. I mean, they don't build them like that too often.
No. They do not make them like that very often. And the term generational does get tossed around far too often for position players and quarterbacks and everybody. But Jeremiah Smith truly is once in a generation kind of wide receiver. I've seen a lot of great ones come through Ohio State. I've never seen one come through and do what he's done.
It would be tempting. It would be tempting.
Now, that being said, his quarterback, Julian Sayin, where do you think he would be interesting for the Jets?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good one that I overlooked when I was talking about quarterbacks.
See, that's how many quarterbacks are in this thing, right? Like that's nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot, and we haven't even mentioned like Mestamaker or John Mateer. I mean,
right?
there's a lot.
Sorsby, if the supplemental thing doesn't happen, he's going to be in that class. Like, oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks.
Good news.
This is definitely the draft. I was okay with the idea of doing it this last year, but if they pulled a Commanders move, took one in the first round, took one in the 4th or 5th round, I would be more than okay with that this year. Just because, you can never have too many bites at the apple for the quarterback. I wish you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you,
I look forward to seeing you on October 11th, BG. While we beat the absolute piss out of the Cleveland Browns.
It's going to be excellent. Thank you, Devin. And I'll assume that orange you're wearing isn't for the Browns today. Okay, there you go. Remember, let's beat the Browns. Batuki. Here we go, guys! Oh, yeah, baby. I am fired the frick up. Well, Rickie, this was freaking special. Thank you for coming on. This was great, and I hope we'll be talking off air. I'd love to make this a more regular thing, my friend, if it can work with your schedule, because Johnny Boy said it earlier, man. The chemistry, the ability to do this for a prolonged period, normally just for a small call-in piece or vice versa, me jumping on your show. So, man, if we can make this a more regular thing, I think that's good for the people and good for everybody. So that'd be awesome.
Right on, man. Definitely. We'll talk off air. And, yeah, I see no reason why we couldn't do that. And, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. Always enjoy talking some Jets football. And, hey, for all the Jets fans, what better way to start your day than BG first thing in the morning?
That's right, baby. So your people talking to my people, get our agents involved, get them in a room, see if we can hammer out a deal, my friend. But for the 500 people that are in the room right now, give them the pitch, Rickie, on your channel that's behind you, Rickie New York Live, some skulls, some footballs, some hair. You got a lot going on there, Rickie. What if people tune into Rickie New York Live, what are they getting? What are you providing in this Jets content creator space?
All right. Rickie New York Live, which is my channel here on YouTube. It's kind of a rock and roll themed Jets show. Two things that are both very dear to my heart. And what I try to provide for people is a little bit different perspective, a different way of looking at things. I try to talk about things that maybe other channels are not talking about. I mean, there's only so much Jets news to go around, and so a lot of times we all end up talking about the same things. Obviously, the players we add, the players we cut. However, I try to maybe go a little bit more in depth when it came to, like, say, the Cade Klubnik trade, and people were upset that we traded up for him. I kind of went a little bit more in depth on that and said, okay, well, in 2023 and 24, when Muji was still in Denver, he was evaluating Klubnik for them. he knew how highly Denver thought of Klubnik. Bo Nick's younger brother, Caleb, was Klubnik's roommate at Clemson. They had inside information on him that maybe other teams were not privy to. So whether it was actual intel or just his instinct, the fact that, between where we picked Daryl Jackson and where our next pick would have been, Denver had 2 picks, and they absolutely would have taken Klubnik. He would not have been there for us later. Moochie saw the writing on the wall, made the move. I've heard a lot of people say, wow, I didn't really know about that Denver connection or hadn't heard that before. And so I try to provide some things that are maybe a little bit different than what other channels are talking about. And I'm known widely on YouTube for my positivity and trying to find the bright side of things, always looking for that silver lining. And this year, dude, I think we're rebuilding the right way. I think there's a lot of reasons to be positive. And so I will be continuing on that theme as we move forward. At 8 p.m. tonight, I will be joined by Matt O'Leary, and we'll be doing kind of our predictions for the schedule for the upcoming year. And then this Saturday at 8 p.m., I will be joined by Green Bean on the show. And we are going to have Positivity Overdrive, all aboard for Green Bean Island. We're going to blow the top off of that thing come Saturday. So lots of good stuff coming up on the program. And so definitely, guys, check it out. Rickie New York Live on YouTube. You can also follow me on X, and looking forward to having you. I'm still kind of a new channel compared to a lot of people. I'm making my push for 350, only 4 subscribers away. So make sure you sub to the channel, and we're going to keep on plugging along. And man, I think we're going to have some good news to talk about this season. I cannot wait for a winning Jets season to not just for my selfish reasons for the channel, but for all you fans, and being able to give you some content that is overwhelmingly positive. And we've been waiting a long time for it. We deserve it. And I can't wait to give it to you.
I couldn't agree more. Shout out to Osher Jet Fan for gifting a membership earlier. Jake Asman Super Chat, Mac Super Chat, Hear Me Out Super Chat. Great to see him back in the chat, and Spin Max Dave as well. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Do me a favor. Again, as you exit stage left, like the video here on YouTube, or if you're rewatching the show on YouTube, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Appreciate anywhere you're watching the show, on demand on YouTube, or the Believe Network, BLEAV, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. I appreciate it. And if you guys are interested in watching the Jets-Browns game with me live, here it is. That's my email. I'm throwing it up on the screen, paulasdenjr@gmail.com. If you want to hear details about ticket prices, tailgate, the whole Monty, or the restaurant takeover the night before, if you can't attend the game but you're in the area and you want to come to our party, let me know, paulasdenjr@gmail.com, and we'll give you guys all the details that I can. Again, the deadline is coming up in a little over a week, so make sure you guys reach out ASAP if you are interested. Appreciate it. Rickie, this was awesome. Thank you to the great people out there in the audience, and we'll be back tomorrow morning for another episode of Boy Green Daily. Take care, everybody.